Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video, I'm taking a look at the Flowmaster Outlaw dual exhaust system with polished tips, fitting 2020 and newer 6.6 liter gas-powered Silverado and Sierra 2500 and 3500s. If other exhausts are just too subdued for your taste, or if you're looking for the ultimate sound out of your Silverado or Sierra, then this is going to be right up your alley. It combines that classic Flowmaster rumble with some really solid construction and the ability to switch up where your exhaust exits in the back. But of course, the biggest reason to snag this has got to be the sound. Now, as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, this is going to get a very solid 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter because it's up there. In fact, I'd almost give it a 5 out of 5, except that it does still have a muffler, so it keeps it a little bit civil. But make no mistake, this setup is going to be rowdy. It's one of the classic combinations of the aftermarket, a Flowmaster exhaust on a big old American V8, and it continues to be a popular setup for a good reason. It just sounds right. As the clips at the start of the video no doubt showed you, this particular Flowmaster really wakes up the sound of the 6.6 gasser in these heavy-duty GM trucks. It really takes the engine from being pretty muted to something much more befitting of a big displacement V8. And honestly, it's great. You get that burbly, visceral type of sound that's typically associated with something like an old big block muscle car or a dragster, but it's still actually pretty smooth and refined. Now, since this is a full catback system, this is going to replace your stock resonator and mufflers, leaving you with just this compact Super 10 muffler. Now, this is a single-chambered muffler that utilizes Flowmaster's patented DeltaFlow technology to give you that unique sound profile and help cancel out some unwanted noise. Now, this utilizes delta-shaped, meaning triangular baffles within the muffler. You hopefully saw them a moment ago, and that's going to help bring the sound waves together in a way that helps eliminate dissonant or unpleasant frequencies, so you're not going to get that drone. This technology also helps with exhaust gas scavenging because it actually creates a vacuum within the muffler, so it helps pull the gases through the muffler and thus assists with the overall flow. So that means you're going to get better flow through the system, and this is also going to help you avoid drone. But it's still going to be loud, which, as you heard from the interior clips earlier, is a good thing because, of course, since it's going to be louder outside, that means there's definitely going to be more volume in the cabin of the truck. But if you want to hear your exhaust, this is going to give you exactly that, just without some of the headaches you might get from other systems. Now, one of the coolest parts of this exhaust, though, is not the really aggressive Super 10, but it's the fact that you get the option to have the exhaust exit either out the sides behind the rear wheels of the truck or straight out the back under the bumper. So if you like that classic dual outlet look, you're going to use these pipes right here, and they're going to have the tips sit pretty much right under that rear bumper. Or if you say do a lot of towing or just prefer that look, you can use these pipes at the end, and they're going to have the tips exit out the sides right by your rear tires. Or you can also change it up depending on how you're feeling. So if you feel like doing regular dual exhaust one week and then changing it up to the dual side outlet exhaust the next week, you can do that. You also get all the necessary new hangers and isolators to get the driver's side pipe hung up, since this is going to convert your truck from a single exhaust to a dual exhaust. You're not going to have to modify anything on your truck. You're not going to have to cut any holes. It's just going to bolt right on, and will also keep your spare tire intact, so you don't have to leave that at home. It's going to integrate just like a stock system would. Neither way you set it up, it's still going to look cool because you get these huge dual wall 4-inch polished tips to finish it all off. They're slash cut. They give you a nice aggressive look to go with that aggressive sound. Now, these are also going to tuck up a little bit closer to the body of the truck with this system as opposed to your stock one, so it's going to give you a little bit more clearance in the rear as well. Construction here is pretty much what you would expect. You get 3.5-inch diameter tubing in this inlet pipe going back to the muffler, and then the rest of the system is all 3-inch tubing out to the tips. This is all 16-gauge mandrel bent 409 grade stainless steel as well. So that means you're going to get smooth exhaust flow, and it's going to provide you with some solid protection against corrosion and rust. But it won't be quite as nice or quite as much protection as something made from T304 stainless. But it's not going to come with the price of T304 either. Like we were talking about a moment ago though, those 4-inch tips are finished off with this nice polish to them, and these are going to be 304 stainless too. So these are really going to look nice, and they're going to stay shiny for a long time. Just make sure you keep them clean. As far as pricing goes, this system is going to run you about $875, which really does put it on the more affordable side of the spectrum. You're going to be saving some money versus some of the more intricate systems with switchable valves or something with T304 stainless material, but you're still going to get really good sound, good quality, and let's not forget the flexibility to change up the look. So you get some really great benefits with this setup, and it's just going to sound really darn good on your truck. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, such is the case with most exhausts, and it's going to take you about 2 hours to complete the job. Now, like any exhaust, it can be a bit tricky given a lack of space, but it's nothing that you can't handle at home, especially because these trucks sit up pretty high, and if you're on the smaller side like I am, that's a benefit. You can just slide right on under, pop the old exhaust off, and get this one on. But we're going to show you what's involved right now, so with that, let's head out to the install bay.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact or ratchet, a 3/8 extension, a 15 and a 10 millimeter socket, a 15 and a 10 millimeter wrench, penetrating oil, a type of grease, an exhaust hanger tool, diagonal cutters, and also not shown will be a lift and a pull jack. All right, today we're gonna be installing exhaust on our Silverado. But first we gotta uninstall the stock system and then we'll install the new one. All right, first thing we wanna do before we take the stock system off is we're gonna come up to our flange in the front. We just wanna help lubricate them so it just eases the uninstall. All right, now we can take our nuts off of our flange. We're gonna grab our ratchet with our extension and 15 millimeter socket. All right, we just gotta take our exhaust off the hangers now, so we're gonna grab our exhaust hanger tool and take them off the isolators. All right, now that we have our rear hangers off, we're gonna go to the front so the exhaust isn't hanging down too low. Take these hangers off. All right, now before we take off our last hanger, we're gonna support our exhaust with the pull jack, just so it doesn't fall down when we take that last hanger off. All right, with our new Flowmaster exhaust, what we have to do is we have to take our factory studs out of our cat pipe. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our factory nuts that we took off, thread them on a little bit, just so we don't damage the threads, just in case you do wanna put the factory exhaust back on, you can reinstall these studs. So we're gonna take our hammer, smack our studs out so we can install our new hardware. All right, we're now gonna install our new hanger that we have supplied for us. So we're gonna grab our long bolt, slide it through our hanger like so, and the hanger will mount up on the frame on the left side of the vehicle up here. It's gonna go through the frame, put the backing plate on, and then we're gonna put our locking washer, flat washer, and nut on the other side. All right, once you get it level, you can just tighten it down. It's all gonna be 15 millimeter hardware. So we're gonna grab our ratchet and our wrench. All right, then we just take our new supplied isolator and slide that on the end. All right, what we can do now is we can take some grease and we just go around the inside of the isolator a little bit just to make the install a little bit easier. And then you could do that for the rest of the isolators through the system. All right, so we're now ready to install our front pipe. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on our hangers first, and then we can install our supplied hardware, our nuts, bolts, and washers. All right, we're now gonna install our hardware. Our bolt's gonna go through the back side. And on the front side, we're gonna do lock washer, flat washer, and then nut. All right, now this is all 15mm hardware, so we're gonna grab our ratchet and our wrench and just snug it up, don't tighten it down completely yet. All right, now we can put our muffler on. First, we're gonna take our larger clamp, our 3.5-inch clamp, and slide it over our pipe. And then we can slide our muffler over the end. All right, now we can get our passenger side pipe out of our muffler ran. What we're gonna do is we have a pull jack here to support the muffler, just to help so things don't move around too much. Now we're gonna take our pipe, go over our axle and put it in our 2 hangers first. All right, now we're just gonna take our clamp, slide it over our muffler. And we can just slide our pipe into our muffler. All right, we can now do our driver's side out of our muffler. We're gonna put our clamp on first. All right, and then we're gonna fish our pipe over our axle, into our hanger, and then into our muffler. All right, we now put our second section on our driver's side. We're gonna put it on our hanger first and then slide it into our pipe. But first, don't forget the clamp. All right, now before we put our tips on, you have a couple options on how you would like them to look. You have a straight out option or an out the side option. This would be the elbow for out the side. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna put the straight out option on ours. Of course, the choice is up to you. All right, now we're gonna put our pipe on for our straight out exit. I'm gonna put our clamp on first and then just slide it over the end. All right, now you just do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we're gonna tighten our exhaust. We're gonna start in the front and work our way backwards. Everything on here is 15mm hardware. So we're gonna grab our ratchet and wrench to start on the flange up here. One thing to note on this flange, you wanna alternate tightening each one. You don't wanna tighten one down too far. It will angle the clamp and will not seal correctly. All right, we're gonna go to the back of the muffler here. We're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket. All right, and then we can tighten our 2 clamps on the other side of the muffler. Angle them correctly. All right, we're gonna continue along our driver's side. We're gonna do our clamp over our axle. And then we can do our clamp for our tip. All right, now we go to the passenger side and do the one for the exit. All right, we can now put our tip over our end, slide it over, adjust it to your desired location, and then it is 10mm hardware, so we're gonna grab our impact and our wrench and tighten it down. All right, you just repeat the same thing on the other side. All right, last thing we need to do is we need to take this vent tube and just zip tie it to our brake line here so it doesn't come in contact with the exhaust. And what you could do is take a pair of diagonal cutters and just cut the excess off. All right, and that wraps up our install of our Flowmaster Outlaw dual exhaust system with polished tips for a side or rear exit for our 2020 and newer 6.6 liter gas Silverado and Sierra for our 2500 and 3500 HD. And remember, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.